So let's say the insurance company just doesn't want to pay you, or they're not accepting liability, and we have to file a lawsuit. The process of filing a lawsuit is a longer process. The way it works is it's kind of funny how lawsuits work. You have to speed up and then you slow down, speed up and slow down. And the reason why, because everything has a timeline. Sometimes you have a 30-day timeline, sometimes you have a 10-day timeline, sometimes you have a 60-day timeline, sometimes you have a 90-day timeline. Depends on what we're asking the opposing party to do. Before you file a lawsuit, the thing is that we have to do an in-depth questionnaire. This in-depth questionnaire are questions that the other side, the at-fault party, will ask. We've compiled a list of questions that they've asked over the years. There's model interrogatories. These are questions that they ask of you, and we do this before we file a lawsuit, because what we don't want to be scrambling later on when they file this, because once they file this, we have 30 days to respond back. So before we file a lawsuit, we do this in-depth questionnaire with our law firm, with somebody in my law firm, and we make sure that we answer all these questions. We want to know your background, your history, previous accidents, how it's affected your life. There's a lot of questions that we'll go over with you. The interview takes about 20 to 30 minutes, and that will give us answers to, do we need to request documents? Do we need to get more medical records? Have you had previous accidents, and do we need to get those records? We also want to know what the background is of you and what the background is of the defendant. We'll pull criminal records. You may not be a criminal, but we still want to know your history. We know the person that crashes into you, what their history is. We want to know the complete story. What was the property damage? Do we have the pictures of the property damage of your car, of the other person's car? Do we have the repair estimates for your car or the other person's car? That way we know whether it was a bigger impact or a smaller impact. So all these things are important to know before we file a lawsuit. And then once we file a lawsuit, we're more prepared. And then once we draft the complaint, which is basically, the complaint is, we're the plaintiffs, we're complaining against the other side of why they need to pay you so much money. And the complaint, depending on the level of policy, depending on your injury, it can change. It can be a county court if it's less than a certain amount, and it can be in circuit court if it's over a certain amount. All that means is what judge is going to hear the case. In county court, the cases go much faster. In circuit court, it takes a little bit longer, but the values are much greater. It's all important depending on your injuries and depending on how it's affected your life. And then we file a service of process. Service of process is basically, we're going to serve the person that crashed into and any defendants, meaning it could be the owner of the car, and it could be, typically it's the owner of the car. If it's a company vehicle that crashed into, the owner of the company, or the company wherever their principal place of business is at, and the driver of the car. These are individuals that we serve to say, hey, you've been served with this complaint. Then now they have 20 days to respond back to our complaint. Once they respond back, we ask them for a lot of documentation inside the complaint. We want to ask them all those questions that they try to ask us. The questions are a little bit different. We have a list of questions we ask them. We want their insurance policy information. We want to know all the pictures. So there's request for production is something we ask. Interrogatories is something else we ask. And we also ask requests for admissions. It's, are they liable? Are they the driver? So there's a list of questions that we ask to see. We have questions for the drivers, and we have questions for the owners of the vehicle to make sure that the owner consented to that person driving. So these are things that happen before we file suit, and this is the intermediate thing that happens as we file suit in the beginning stages of the lawsuit. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of people involved. There's attorneys start contacting us once they get the paperwork, because they normally, the defendant, the person that caused the accident, they give the information to the insurance company, and then that defendant's insurance company hires an attorney, and then they reach out to us to talk about the case. This process takes a little while, but we have to go through this process in order to file a lawsuit, in order to go forward, because sometimes the insurance company just doesn't want to pay, or they don't want to accept liability, so we have to go through this process. And then once we're in litigation, there's a lot of back and forth, and there's timelines. They'll serve us with papers, we have to respond back, and we'll serve them with papers, they got to respond back. So it is kind of a longer process, the process of litigation, but this is the beginning stages of litigation.